What's up, everybody? It's your boy Leeweegee here, and today I wanted to do a little different style video. I'm probably going to throw some random footage up in the background, probably Final Fantasy since I'm going to be talking about it. But I just want to take this time to thank Zepla, Asmongold, all of your people that came over to watch my videos, as well as all the current subscribers that I have that watch my content like all the time. I appreciate all the love and support. You guys are freaking awesome. Now you're probably wondering why I'm thanking Zepla and Asmongold specifically, because we haven't like really interacted or anything like that. But my analytics have been going nuts, and I'll put them up on the screen so you can see it. Now I'm pretty proud of it. I only have 800 subscribers. I've only been around like a year and a half. I mostly do like retro gaming, let's plays, and I haven't like strayed off and done a whole lot of like different videos just yet. I'm still learning how to talk to the camera and get my lighting right, and just, you know, I'm just a mess right now, but I'm learning, I'm constantly improving and whatnot. So I'm very proud of my analytics going crazy here recently. But my thing is, I just wanted to find out, why was everything going up all of a sudden? So I've been trying to figure out where all the views and whatnot have been coming from. And the only thing I could figure out that I did any differently was I reacted to a Final Fantasy XIV benchmark trailer, in which during that I got a bit emotional seeing all the new stuff and whatnot. And I've never really done a reaction video. I did like one meme review video, but I feel like I could have done better. It's kind of cringy, I'm not gonna lie, but I reacted to the benchmark trailer. I talked about Endwalker. I talked about a bunch of different things, Final Fantasy, and I even talked about Asmongold, like when he joined, how awesome I thought that was. It was like really cool, but my video is kind of cringy, and it was like my first reaction video, but it got a lot more views than my standard videos did. So I noticed that, and I thought that was pretty cool. But that wasn't the only place where I was getting like, you know, crazy analytics from. Now I made a few YouTube shorts where I was memeing on Final Fantasy XIV a little bit. There's a dungeon called The Twinning, and it's got music in it called A Long Fall. It's really epic music, so I made a few dances to it. That's really all I did, and I just turned it into a short. And they did surprisingly well, and that's probably like my highest viewed videos yet for just playing around with it. And I got a lot of positive comments, and a lot of people liked the video. But I also had a bunch of like people that was hating on it and whatnot, but that's just the internet. You could give somebody like $1 million to like your video, and somehow they'll still dislike it because they didn't like the way you handed them that $1 million. Plus, apparently nobody can read a description. Like, I don't even know why I write out descriptions. I always do that. I think it's gonna help with the SEO or something, but everybody just seems to be like, they'll see a video, they don't even watch it, they'll just go straight down and comment something, and just be like, oh, blah, 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 and didn't read a description at all. If they would have read a description, or even the pinned comment, they would know exactly, you know, what it was they were seeing and whatnot. But, you know, it is what it is. So I figured out it wasn't the YouTube Shorts that was getting me all the extra views and extra watch time and all that. It's from my Final Fantasy XIV visual dungeon guides. Now I know there's a ton of new players that's pouring into the game, so they're probably looking at my guides and figuring out where they need to go and what to do. And I just think that is awesome. Like, I wanted a way to put Final Fantasy XIV on my channel. I just didn't know how to go about it because I've already went through all this content. So it wouldn't make sense for me to start at the beginning and, you know, talk over something that I've already done like over 100 times. And I wanted a way to add value to new players and stuff like that. But yeah, people like Mr. Happy and Miss Tech, they pretty much break down boss fights and tell you like everything you need to know. So that's already been done. So I'm like, well, I really love the music to Final Fantasy XIV, and I would love to get new players to play. So how about I just make like a no commentary let's play, where I start from the beginning and I guide you all the way through to the dungeon and beat the boss. Players can see how the tank pulls, they can see the bosses and where to stand, you know, how to move out of like AoEs, you know, they can just see everything. Because me, I don't know, like some people are different, but when me and my buddies get like a new game or something and they're playing it first and they get to a boss and they get stuck and they die over and over again, they hand the controller off to me, and within the first or second try, I'll beat it. And then they get pissed off at me and they're like, how did you beat that? You haven't even played this game yet. Well, to me, I was playing it the whole time in my head because I was watching him and he was dodging this, dodging that, attacking then, and I would see the boss move. So I was learning in my head. So by the time I got the controller, I knew what to do. So that's kind of where the idea of these visual guides came from. I was like, yeah, I could just play the dungeon from start to finish, and people will see how the tank pulls, where I stand, and all stuff like that. And even still, I might make a mistake every once in a while, but I don't care, because I'll usually like leave it in, because then people can be like, haha, I know not to do that. So yeah, that's where all my views are coming from. They're coming from my visual dungeon guides. Now I know that content's not groundbreaking or anything like that, by no means. And actually I want to start talking about Final Fantasy XIV more on the channel. But people have actually wrote me and thanked me, like whether it be in the comments or a DM. And I've had people to actually start playing the game because they either liked the music or they thought the gameplay was cool. They liked the jobs and whatnot. I've kind of brought in some players. Even though I'm such a small creator, I was still able to recruit new players. And that makes me very happy that I can bring in people that's never played the game before. They just stumble upon my channel and they just see some random dungeon and they enjoy it and they decide to play it. I think that's so cool. And now I'm just getting all these views and stuff. It's really wild, but I'm so glad that people can find value in those videos. Now you're probably wondering where Zepla and Asmongold fit into all this mess, right? Well, I was digging further in my analytics, trying to get to the bottom of this, and I went to a part that I never really go to. It's a section where it tells you other videos that your audience watches and also other channels that your audience watches. And I normally don't go there because usually when I go there, it's just other YouTubers that are like me. They're small, they're watching me, I'm watching them, stuff like that. I didn't really think, nothing of it, because it was always like people that, that I was either friends with, or it was just random people I've never ever heard of. So I didn't really look at that until recently. So when I brought that up, to my surprise, I seen Zepla, Asmongold's channels, and I even seen Fashionista, which I just started watching them here recently. I haven't heard of them before, and it's always cool to see new Final Fantasy XIV creators. And I just thought, like, what? I'm like, so people are watching me, but they're also watching them? I'm like, why would they watch me if they're watching them? I thought that was so wild that, they're watching these awesome YouTubers, and I'm just, making Final Fantasy XIV guides. I just thought that was like so crazy. But that's why I'm thanking them, because it's just really awesome that their audience is also watching mine and my audience is also watching them. For that, I thank you guys. Thank you for all the love and stuff that got sent my way, whether you intended for it or not. I just want to say, go check out Zepla's channel. She's really awesome. And the first time that I, heard of her, she did a video talking about how she was quitting WoW to go to Final Fantasy XIV. And it really resonated with me. And she was real wholesome in that video. And my situation was a lot different, and I'm not going to go into a lot of details about it, but I love Final Fantasy. I've been playing Final Fantasy like since the early days, like Nintendo and Super Nintendo and stuff. So I've always loved it. And when Final Fantasy XI came out, I had to get it. And the thing that sucked was I didn't have internet at the time, so then I had to get internet, and I didn't really like it because it was online. But I eventually got used to it and I loved it. I made a lot of friends and I still have lots of good memories from it today. But I kind of went from that, and then eventually I got a PC. So then I got to finally play Warcraft because, I heard like so many comparisons with Final Fantasy XI and Warcraft really appealed to me just as much as Final Fantasy did. And I was like, man, that's cool. I really would like to try that out. So I finally got to try that out. I went back and forth between Final Fantasy XI and World of Warcraft, and I love both of them and everything. And then one day, lightning or something happened. I wasn't home, but my PC just got struck and motherboard was fried and everything else. And I've always been more of a console gamer anyway. So at the time, I'm just like, I just didn't want to deal with it. And I had the PC for a while anyway, so it's getting kind of old and slow and whatever. So I just kept playing Final Fantasy XI because it was on PS2. And eventually moved to the 360, which that was kind of weird how it went from PlayStation to Xbox, but that was fine. I kept playing it, but I wasn't able to play Warcraft. And then Final Fantasy XIV came out, and I wanted to play it, but I didn't get to play it either. Not until Realm Reborn came out, and that's when I finally got to play Final Fantasy XIV because it came to the PlayStation 3 first, and now I'm playing it on PlayStation 4. So long story short, I really love Final Fantasy and I really love World of Warcraft, and it just kind of pisses me off about how Warcraft is doing right now. And it's not just World of Warcraft really, it's just a lot of Blizzard stuff. It's just a lot of decisions and whatnot that's been going on. I really don't agree with it. Diablo Immortal.
Current plan is to be on mobile, both Android and iOS. We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC. Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
And stuff like that. I know that they're good, they're talented people, and they can do so much better. And I think that's why it makes me upset, because I love World of Warcraft. And to me, Final Fantasy XIV, this is just my opinion, but I feel like Final Fantasy XIV is kind of like Final Fantasy XI and then World of Warcraft, and they just kind of like met together and made Final Fantasy XIV, because I can see stuff from both games like influence with this one. And that's why it upsets me, because even now Final Fantasy XI is still going, and I want that to be successful. It's still getting content for it, believe it or not, and I think that is awesome. And World of Warcraft, I don't want to see that fail. I want to see it do good, and it just pisses me off in a way that Blizzard's making dumb decisions and whatnot right now, and I know they're capable of doing so much better. Now, I've said enough about Blizzard for now. I'll probably go into more of it later, but I wanted to talk about Asmongold a little bit. I didn't know this dude, and I just knew he was like big in the World of Warcraft, and he streams it, and I think that's freaking awesome. I still gotta like catch like some of his streams. I've just been watching a lot of his stuff on YouTube here recently. That's where I've been catching him from. I don't get to watch a whole lot of Twitch, but I definitely need to check him out sometime. And I think the first time I heard about him or seen him was probably in somebody else's YouTube video. But I do remember one time on Twitter, of course it has to be Twitter, but people were saying, oh, Asmongold's toxic and his audience is toxic and all this and that. And I was just like, man, this is like a dude I probably need to stay away from or not watch or whatever. But Twitter is not real life. I don't know why, but people live in a little bubble of social media, and Twitter is like opposite land. Then you go out into the real world, it's not like that at all. And I know I need to use social media a lot more to promote my videos and stuff like that, but Twitter can be just a dumpster fire at times. And when I seen that about Asmongold, I was just kind of like, I shrugged it off, but I really didn't check him out until much later. I think the first Asmongold trailer that I saw was his Endwalker trailer, his reaction. And I don't know why, but I was kind of under the impression that he was going to like shit all over it or something for some reason, because I knew he was big in the World of Warcraft, and I didn't really know this guy, and I've just heard stuff. I just thought, man, he's going to shit all over this. I've got to hear what he says, because to me, World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV, the communities, there's a lot of great people in the communities, and then there's a lot of like bad people as well, of course, but you've always got like the fanboys and the fangirls and whatnot, but you've got your people that's like, they love Warcraft and they hate Final Fantasy, and they don't have a reason. They just hate Final Fantasy XIV because it's not Warcraft. And then you got people that play Final Fantasy XIV that just hate on people that play Warcraft, and they don't really have a reason. It's just not Final Fantasy XIV. It's like, here's our community, here's our community. It's like PlayStation and Xbox. Like, both of those consoles are really freaking cool. They have amazing games on both of them. I have both of them. And I have Nintendo. I have GameCube. I have like freaking Atari, like all kinds of shit here. And I just don't understand the console wars. Just like I don't understand people with Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV. It gets annoying sometimes, like, because people will always do it. When Asmongold made this video about Endwalker, I thought he was going to shit all over it, but I watched his reaction to it, and I want to say I really appreciated it, man. He was like real genuine, and when he was watching it, you know, I could see him reacting to it, and I could tell that he really liked it. And there was some stuff that he didn't like, and he was just honest about it. Like, one thing I noticed was he said he didn't really like the music. And at first I kind of got triggered. I'm like, how can you not like Final Fantasy XIV's music? Final Fantasy XIV has an amazing soundtrack. Like, I could put Lahi in my car and listen to it, or any boss music or dungeon music. It has fantastic music. Like, some of the music in Final Fantasy XIV beats any of this shit that I'm hearing coming out of like new artists today. That's just my honest opinion. That's how good I think Final Fantasy XIV's music is. And Asmongold saying that he didn't like it, that really triggered me. I'm like, how could you not like it? But he did go on and say something like, maybe he just didn't understand it. And that made total sense to me. I'm like, man, that's a really good take, actually, because if I listen to Final Fantasy XIV music, like, out of context, you know, I've never played the game or didn't know the characters, didn't know the story, yeah, that makes total sense to me. I wouldn't feel the same. Now, after enjoying the story, playing the game, knowing the characters, knowing what's happening when that music kicks in, it gives me feelings, it gives me emotion. It's so good, and I think that's why I love it so much. But all in all, you know, Asmongold's reactions to it, it was really cool. I thought he was going to shit all over it, and I was totally wrong about the guy. And I actually laughed when he was talking about the male Vieira. They adding the male bunnies, which, you know, I understand why they're doing it, you know, but from a lore perspective, you know, the females are out, the males are, you know, hidden or whatever, and I don't know, it's kind of weird to me, but I guess it's okay. It's just going to suck when I'm running around town, but oh, here's a hot Vieira, and I'm going to look, and it's going to be like a dude, and that's just going to throw me off now. But I liked his reaction to that, and it's kind of funny because, like, I know sometimes, like, people in the chat will be saying, oh, this is a weeb game, or this is a furry game, and stuff like that. And if you think about it, Warcraft has, like, you know, the pandas and Taurens and stuff like that, and I'm like, how can you say, you know, like, the cat ears and like rabbit ears is a furry when you've pretty much got like a full person of fur? And I was laughing about that, you know, because, you know, people don't really, you know, some of them people didn't really play Final Fantasy. You know, they only play Warcraft, so I could see them be like, oh, that's furry, you know. But all in all, I really enjoyed the video. And ever since then, I've been watching a lot more of his videos. So all in all, I think Asmongold's a really cool guy. I went back and I watched some old videos, and I went forward, I watched some new videos, and like, to me, I don't know him personally, but he just seems like really cool. And for people to say that he's toxic, that just really pisses me off. Like, I remember when he started playing 14, there was like some furry or something on Twitter, of course, of all places, saying that, you know, they didn't want him playing Final Fantasy 14 and blah, 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 and getting people to harass him in the game. And that just like really pissed me off, because it's like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you're saying that Asmongold is toxic and his community's toxic, but yet you don't know him. You don't know all of his, you know, his followers and stuff. You're just pretty much labeling them all toxic. It's like, so what are you doing? You're a hypocrite. You're being toxic. You're hurting your own game. If you love 14 so much, you know how awesome it would be to have Asmongold come over and all these new players to give it a shot. And Final Fantasy 14 is, you know, getting more successful. And the more successful the game is, the better that it does, the more stuff they'll add and more stuff they'll do for us. And it's just, I just don't understand, like, these freaking Twitter people's logic. And from what I've seen of Asmongold, like, you can call him an asshole or not like him or whatever, but for him to come over and play Final Fantasy 14 and like his, you know, people coming over, like his, you know, fan base and stuff, like, how's that gonna bother you? Like, literally, the guy will be playing the game and doing his own fucking thing. How is that gonna bother you? Because you'll be on a server, he'll be on a server, and even if you two were on the same server, Like the chances of you two like meeting together and interacting is like slim and none. And if you knew who his character name was, whatever, you could just not talk to him. It's that simple. And I just don't understand like some people. It just pisses me off that people are just such hypocrites. You know, they're calling him toxic and his fan base toxic, but they're the ones being toxic. And for Blizzard employees to, you know, be adding fuel to the fire, just that just, it's disgraceful. It's just fucking stupid. Like, I don't understand how these, you know, employees using, you know, their, you know, company Twitter handle to like, you know, talk crap and whatever about like Asmongold and stuff like that. And that blows my mind, dude. I really don't know what to think about Blizzard right now. I just find it fucking disgusting that they've made it personal with Asmongold and, you know, the WoW community. And instead of being accountable for their own actions, you know, they're calling him toxic and the community toxic. When what are they doing? They're being toxic. They turned something and like made it personal. The only crime Asmongold has done, which is not even a crime, is basically criticize the game. If there's something he loves, he'll say he loves it. If there's something that's shit or he thinks that they can do better, he'll call it out. I don't think that's toxic at all. That's criticizing. You know, that's player feedback. And that's one thing that I love about the Final Fantasy XIV developers. Like, no matter who they are, like I love every one of them, man. They're so freaking awesome. Like, you can tell how much they really, truly love and care about their fans. And anytime there's something I have a minor complaint with, somehow it always gets fixed. And like, even the Reaper job class, I've been wanting a Scythe job class because in Final Fantasy XI, I played as a Dark Knight, and in that game, you were a DPS. In this game, you're a tank as a Dark Knight. But I wanted a Scythe wielding job, and you know, there's like a little thing in the game where you can request it. And eventually we got like a Scythe glamour, which gave me hope. And now we're actually getting the Reaper job. So Final Fantasy XIV, like the developers stuff, they actually listen to their fans. And one thing that they do well is harassment. They take care of harassment. That's one thing freaking Blizzard, you know, they'll post on social media, oh, we love you guys and we support this and we support that. Oh, look at us, buy our products. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but you don't do shit in the game. Like, people get harassed and whatever. And now they got this freaking, you know, lawsuit and like all this shit's just going on. And it's just like, what the hell, man? They're gonna have to tighten up or do something, because a lot of people are flooding over to Final Fantasy. And while that's cool, because I really love Final Fantasy, you know, I'm more partial to Final Fantasy XIV because I play more Final Fantasy games and stuff. But I want Warcraft to be successful too. I want it to do great, and I want them to keep, you know, making it, you know, better. But I feel like they just don't listen to the fans. Whereas like, and I don't even say, you know, it's not even just a Blizzard thing. I think it's like a North American thing. Like, you can see it like within comics and movies and stuff like that, especially like the new He-Man series. It's like, you know, everybody wanted He-Man, but, you know, you've seen how that turned out. It's like people just get like something and they're just like, oh, how can I fuck this shit up? All the fans want this. Well, I'm going to do the opposite of that. That's what it just seems like, you know, going on in North America. Like, it just seems like that's just what all the companies are trying to do. They're like, how can we fuck this up and make, you know, like 5 people that actually like this idea? We'll make them happy, but the longtime fans, let's just shit all over them. And it's just like a thing over here, it seems like. And seriously, guys, if you haven't checked out Asmongold, definitely check out his YouTube, his Twitch and everything. He's a really cool dude, and he does not condone harassment at all. If you've watched him, like at any time, like somebody like be in one of his streams, they'll be like trolling or talking crap about somebody and that, you know, that he's watching a video of, he'll like shut them down. He'll be like, no harassment. And that's the same with me. I don't condone any harassment. I don't want anybody going to Blizzard and, you know, talking crap to them or saying anything to the devs and stuff like that. Now, if you have criticisms about the games or you know, stuff like that, yeah, go for that. But, You know, don't stoop to their level. Don't like send them any hate. You know, I don't want anything like that. And Asmongold, he's just a cool dude. I don't see how he's toxic. That's like me. You know, I give criticisms about a game, and I'll talk shit, and I'll say, yeah, this is broken, or they should do this or that. You know, I have my own ideas, and sometimes I may be right about them, or, you know, I may be wrong, or more people might like this. It's just an opinion at the end of the day, you know. I'm not being toxic. I'm just saying how I feel. It's, you know, player feedback. It's like a good thing. Well, anyways, this video is getting a little bit long, and it's starting to turn into a rant. I'm just really passionate about gaming and, you know, movies, comics, and all that stuff. And me being a content creator, I'm a very small content creator, but, you know, when I see someone getting accused of something that they're not, and, you know, I seen another person on Twitter, some people went back like 20 years and got something that they said back then and try to use it against them now. I was like, that cancel culture shit, it's bullshit, because somebody could say something years ago and try to be edgy and funny, and then, you know, they could get canceled for it years later, even though they said it, you know, as a joke or whatever, you know, way they meant it. It doesn't even matter, because it's so many years later and the person's changed, and people just want to just, I don't know, cancel people over everything, and eventually I'll probably, you know, get in the spotlight and they'll try to cancel me too, and I just say fuck them. Anyways, at the end of the day, I just want to say thank you, Zepla. Thank you, Asmongold. I'm blaming you guys, whether you've done it or not, for all the Final Fantasy XIV love. You know, all these people flooding into the game. You know, you two are awesome creators, and I really love and appreciate you guys. And it's just, my channel's been getting, to me, it may not look like it to you, but to me, I've been getting lots of views, lots of subs, lots of watch time, and it just means the world to me. Even though it's just some Final Fantasy XIV guides and whatnot, it means a lot to me. So I just wanted to say, you know, thank you, and to everybody that watches Asmongold, Zepla, whatever, thank you for watching my channel too. I appreciate it, and maybe I should make more Final Fantasy XIV videos. Maybe I should make some rant videos. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit worked up about this situation, but at the end of the day, thank you, Zepla. Thank you, Asmongold. Thank you so much for all this love that I've been getting to my channel. I know I've rambled on too long, so I'm just going to end this video right here. Let me know what you guys think, you know, my subscribers and new people watching. Let me know what you think about everything that's going on in the comments below. And I appreciate all the love and support. And as always, I will see you in the next one.